Chapter 21, Feng Yuan's hidden power revealed. Feng Yuan roared, "No, you must come with me. No one is leaving." Lu Ming sneered coldly, glancing contemptuously at Feng Yuan. Just broke through to level 6, not enough to be a real threat. As soon as he spoke, his aura exploded, covering the city like heavenly might. Countless people felt a chill down their spine, their eyes filled with fear. In this world, without strength, you could only hope a stronger being would spare you. There was no other choice. Power ruled here, and even if a strong person killed a weaker one without reason, everyone would consider it normal. "I'll handle Feng Yuan, you two kill the remaining 6 targets. Don't let them escape," Lu Ming commanded. Luo Xingye laughed maliciously, "Don't worry, they won't get away." In the distance, Feng Yuan shook his head in exasperation. He had thought that after Feng Yuan appeared, everything would be resolved, but this unexpected development had caught him off guard. "I guess I'll have to step in," Feng Yuan muttered as he lifted his hand. A flash of spiritual light tore through the void, heading straight for Luo Xingye. Boom! Luo Xingye's head exploded instantly, blood splattering everywhere. "What?" Lu Ming and Pan Huan, both ruthless fighters with vast experience, immediately reacted. Without saying a word, they turned to flee. Whoever had killed Luo Xingye so effortlessly must be far stronger than them, and they had no hope of winning. Boom! Boom! 2 more flashes of light, and their heads followed, exploding into a gory mess. The 3 level 6 experts were annihilated in a moment, as easily as stepping on ants. The entire scene was horrifyingly quiet as everyone stood in shock. What just happened? Though no one quite understood, seeing 3 powerful level 6 experts fall so quickly sent all the members of the 4 families into a hasty retreat. Seizing the moment, Feng Yuan struck out with a powerful blow, instantly killing Wang Ming. Even as a level 5, Wang Ming stood no chance against Feng Yuan. Feng Yuan shouted, "Kill them all." The remaining members of the 4 families were consumed by fear. No matter the outcome, they were doomed. If the Feng family won, the 4 families would be wiped out. If they lost, the 3 level 6 experts who had attacked earlier would surely kill them all to cover their tracks. Especially Yuan, who was filled with regret. He had thought they had a sure win by siding with the Wang family, but now they were all as good as dead. Very quickly, all the level 5 members of the 4 families were slaughtered, leaving only the Feng family members standing. Feng Yuan respectfully called out to the heavens, "Thank you, Senior, for your assistance." But there was no reply from the sky, only silence. Feng Yuan stepped forward, asking, "Master, was it you?" Suddenly, a vortex of spiritual energy stirred in the heavens, only to vanish a moment later. The Feng family's eyes widened in shock. Could it really have been Feng Yuan's mysterious master? They had heard rumors about Feng Yuan's master, but no one had ever seen him. Today's events, however, felt far too real. To easily slay 3 level 6 experts, one of them being level 6 late layer, was an unimaginable feat. Seeing the reaction, Feng Yuan bowed once again, "Thank you, Master." This time, however, there was no response from the heavens. Feng Yuan turned to Feng Yuan, his expression complicated. Who would have thought that their savior would be someone so young? "Qin Tian, perhaps you should step down, and let Feng Yuan take over as head of the family. He's clearly more suited for the role. You can support him from behind," Feng Yuan suggested. Qin Tian. "Father, where's your tact?" But Qin Tian didn't mind. He looked over at Feng Yuan. "What do you think, Feng Yuan? Do you want to be the head of the family? Don't worry, your uncles and I will handle the everyday affairs. You'd only need to make the big decisions," Qin Tian added. Given Feng Yuan's prowess, even without mentioning his terrifying master, the fact that he had fought 2 level 5 mid-layer experts and held his own was enough to solidify his status as the strongest. The head of the family often acted as a symbol of strength, not necessarily handling the daily minutiae. Feng Yuan thought for a moment before declining. "Father, you continue as head for now. Let's revisit this in a few years. Feng Qingtian nodded with a smile. All right. I'll hold on to the position for now, but when you're ready, just say the word. Turning back to Feng Yuan, Feng Qingtian asked, Father, how did you recover and break through? Feng Yuan answered first, it was all thanks to Feng Yuan that I could heal and advance. So it was true. Feng Qingtian's eyes filled with astonishment as he looked at Feng Yuan. His son's secrets seemed to grow by the day. However, he didn't press for details. Everyone was entitled to their own secrets. Feng Yuan commanded, Second brother, take care of the spies who were watching earlier. Qingtian, round up the Feng family members and take over the properties of the four families. And remember, leave no one alive. His tone was chilling, fitting for a family with a history of banditry. No one from the four families could be allowed to survive. With a cold glint in his eye, Feng Qingtian bowed, understood. Soon after, a bloody purge swept through myriad demons' city, as the four great families were eradicated. Not a single soul was left alive. Even the eggs were smashed, and every ant nest drowned in boiling water. It was clear to everyone that the Feng family had won their feud with the four families. The new rulers had risen, and the city's other powers were trembling with fear, shutting themselves inside their homes to avoid attracting attention. Only after the dust settled would they dare step out again. Especially those who had once aligned with the four families, they were terrified the Feng family might come for them next. Now, aside from the Feng family, there wasn't a single level 5 expert left in Myriad Demon City. On that same day, Feng Qingyun used the spirit essence jade liquid to break through to level 5. Back at the Feng family residence, Feng Qingtian had just returned when he was approached by a subordinate who delivered a report. His expression darkened as he coldly ordered, Bring Elder Feng Yi from the branch family.
Hey everyone, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy the audiobooks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support us further, consider becoming a Patreon member. As a member, you'll gain the ability to request the next part of a novel audiobook I've uploaded, depending on your Patreon tier.
Chapter 22, Feng Yuan Mother. Soon, Feng Yi walked in and respectfully saluted. Greetings, family head. Feng Qingtian's expression was grim as he spoke. Do you know why I've called you here? Feng Yi's heart skipped a beat, but he forced a smile and feigned ignorance. I don't know. Seeing his attitude, Feng Qingtian's gaze grew even colder. Feng Yi, the Feng family's most hated thing is betrayal. According to the old rules from when we were the Clearwind Gang, you know what happens to traitors, right? Hearing these words, Feng Yi realized that his actions had been exposed. Panic filled his face as he knelt and begged. Family head, please let me explain. The Wang family forced me. Please spare my life. Forced. Feng Qingtian sneered, the Wang family's steward made it clear that you came to them willingly. The hard-on Feng Yi face instantly froze, his eyes filled with terror. From the moment he collaborated with the Wang family, he was certain that the Feng family would lose. That's why he invested early. But the situation had developed beyond his imagination. The four great families were utterly defeated. Moreover, the Feng family emerged almost unscathed, with only Feng Qingtian suffering minor injuries. Feng Qingtian's voice was cold as he said, You are the leader of a branch. According to the rules, since you betrayed the Feng family, your entire branch's cultivation must be abolished, and you will be exiled. Feng Yi was terrified, begging for mercy. Please, family head, I'll bear the consequences myself. Just spare my branch. Feng Qingtian's gaze remained cold as he raised his hand and abolished Feng Yi cultivation on the spot. Guards, abolish the cultivation of all members of Feng Yi branch and exile them from the Feng family. For Yi, hang him at the gate for 3 days, and after that, execute him as a warning to others. Feng Qingtian's words pierced Feng Yi's heart like sharp swords. Feng Yi knew there was no use begging anymore, and he shouted in rage. Feng Qingtian, you butcher. You would even harm your own family. You're an animal. Feng Qingtian replied, did you think of this when you betrayed the family? If not for Feng Yuan and my father breakthrough to level 6, the entire Feng family would have been annihilated. Did you think of that? To save your branch, you dared to betray us. Feng Yi, even death cannot atone for your crimes. Without another word, Feng Qingtian turned and walked away. The guards dragged Feng Qingtian out and hung him at the family's gate. News of Feng Yi's betrayal quickly spread within the Feng family, filling many with righteous anger. People took up whips and went to lash him, as betrayal was the most despised crime in the Feng family. Feng Yi's actions were selfish and heinous. Though Feng Yi was meant to hang for 3 days, he was whipped to death by an angry crowd in less than half a day, his body torn and bloodied. Yet, the Feng family's rage was not quelled, and they continued to lash his corpse. Collaborating with the Feng family's enemies was an unforgivable crime, one that could have led to the family's destruction. The anger ran deep. A few days later, peace returned to Myriad Demon City. After the Feng family destroyed the 4 great families, they made no further moves, which brought relief to many. In the following weeks, the Feng family remained quiet, causing some to wonder if they, too, had encountered internal problems. In the Feng family's inner courtyard, Feng Qingtian, Feng Hongyuan, and Feng Yuan sat together. Feng Qingtian hesitated for a while before finally speaking. Yuan, when you were younger, I instructed your father not to tell you about this. But now that you are strong enough, it's time you learned the truth. Feng Yuan narrowed his eyes. As expected, there were things about his past that he didn't know. Feng Hongyuan sighed, his face filled with nostalgia. Our family used to be known as the Clear Wind Gang. All of this began with a woman named Qingling Yi, your mother. Hearing her name, Feng Qingtian's face clouded with sadness, his heart heavy with sorrow. Feng Hongyuan continued. Your parents met by chance, and were married within 3 years. Not long after you were born. But less than a month after you were born, people from your mother's powerful clan came for her. These people were unimaginably strong. At that time, I was at half-step level 6, but even the weakest among them made me feel suffocated. Recalling those events, Feng Hongyuan's face filled with fear. They took Qingling and wanted to wipe out our family, thinking that we had tainted their bloodline. If not for a mysterious expert who intervened, our family would have been destroyed. Even so, I was left with permanent injuries. To this day, we don't know whether Qingling is alive or dead, nor who those people were. Feng Yuan was silent, pondering over the story. Feng Qingtian added. I've heard that a level 10 body can one day break through the heavens and become a level 10. If you ever reach that level, Yuan, please bring your mother back. His voice was filled with sorrow and helplessness. Feng Yuan's determination was clear as he said. Don't worry, I'll bring mother back. Later in his courtyard, Feng Yuan flew high above the ground, looking down on the small city below. I don't have to struggle like those novel protagonists to find my mother, Feng Yuan thought with a smile. Chapter 23, Secrets of the Past. The level 10 represents the pinnacle of perfection, where everything is eternal and boundless power resides. Feng Yuan directly tried to glimpse the Tao of Heaven, attempting to search for his closest blood relatives. However, his brows furrowed as he found nothing. How is this possible? There were only 2 potential reasons for this result: either his mother had already passed away, or someone even stronger than him was hiding her presence. Feng Yuan narrowed his eyes. No matter the truth, he needed to confirm it for himself. However, after more searching, he still found nothing. It became clear that a stronger entity was indeed concealing her, which is why he couldn't detect anything. Normally, even if his mother were deceased, he would have sensed it. Use cultivation time, 100,000 years. Since his current cultivation wasn't enough, he decided to increase it. Does the host wish to suppress the fluctuation of cultivation? The system's cold voice echoed in his mind, and Feng Yuan immediately chose to suppress it. His aura started rising sharply. Breaking through to the level 10 realm mid-layer, the 10 perfection. Early layer level 11. Mid-layer 11. Late layer level 11. This 100,000 years of cultivation allowed him to break through an entire major realm. However, Feng Yuan frowned slightly and said again, use 2 million years of cultivation. His aura surged again, rapidly rising as if he were cultivating personally, without any side effects. Late layer level 11. Early layer level 12. Mid-level 12. Late layer level 12. Early level ancient saint. These 2 million years of cultivation allowed Feng Yuan to ascend 2 major levels. At this point, Feng Yuan felt as though he could do anything, as if the entire world was under his control. His divine sense spread out, instantly covering the whole eastern domain, and everything that happened entered his mind. Here were no secrets before him. He realized that if he so wished, he could wipe out the entire eastern domain with just a wave of his hand. So this is the ancient saint realm, huh? Feng Yuan probed again, and this time he finally detected a faint trace of his bloodline. Found her. Upon reaching such a level, many truths about heaven and earth became clear to him naturally. He now knew that above the ancient saint realm, there was the supreme sage realm. Beyond that was the emperor realm, which was divided into 3 levels, quasi-emperor, emperor, and ancient emperor. However, the last person known to have reached the emperor realm had disappeared several 100,000 years ago. Just as Feng Yuan was about to fully dedicate himself to the search, the surrounding void began collapsing, spreading rapidly. It seemed that the world could no longer withstand his power. If he insisted on probing further, millions of miles would be reduced to nothingness. What's happening? Feng Yuan's brow furrowed. Could it be that the Tao of heaven in this world is so weak? Quickly pulling back his senses, Feng Yuan pondered how to find his mother without causing the void to collapse and countless lives to perish. He knew that forcing his way forward could destroy a large part of the eastern domain. After much thought, Feng Yuan decided to stop. Since his mother was still alive and protected by such powerful cultivators, he reasoned that she would be safe for now. Though he couldn't pinpoint her exact location, he knew for sure that she was still within the heaven of the unknown. As long as she was there, they would meet sooner or later. Furthermore, the one obscuring her presence was likely a late layer level 10 or higher. With such immense power, it wouldn't be hard to locate her in heaven of the unknown, given enough time. But still, what's wrong with this world's Tao of heaven? Feng Yuan focused on the Tao of heaven in the heaven of the unknown, sensing that it was incredibly weak, as though it was on the verge of collapse. Suddenly, a strange voice echoed in Feng Yuan's mind, and the power of the Tao of heaven around him began fluctuating violently. What is this? Feng Yuan was stunned, his expression turning serious. It seemed as though the Tao of heaven was communicating with him, much like a wild beast pleading for help. The voice was filled with anguish, despair, and fear. Just as Feng Yuan tried to investigate further, the presence of the Tao of heaven vanished without a trace, leaving him with nothing. What's going on? His brow furrowed. Something serious was happening within the heaven of the unknown, but he had no idea what it was. Even with his previous strength, Feng Yuan hadn't noticed anything amiss. It was only after breaking through to the ancient saint realm, and investigating the Tao of heaven that he became aware of this mysterious situation. This world was hiding something, a profound secret. Even with all his probing, Feng Yuan couldn't find an answer, leaving him feeling perplexed. As for his mother, Feng Yuan realized that he didn't need to search for her. The people who had placed a bounty on the Feng family through the Dark Sentinel would know where the Feng family was and likely attack them soon. Interesting. Feng Yuan smiled. If everything were calm and peaceful, it would be boring. He had plenty of trump cards left, and if worse came to worst, he could use all of his accumulated cultivation. Hundreds of billions of years of power were enough to reach an unfathomable level. If that didn't work, he still had the summoning card for system. Since the annihilation of the 4 great families, the Feng family had entered a period of rapid development. After inheriting the wealth of the 4 great families, the Feng family had become unimaginably rich, possessing over 30 billion spirit stones alone. In addition, there were countless natural treasures and assets that would provide them with a continuous stream of resources. Among the four great families, the He family had been the smallest, with a population nearing 10,000, but the Wang family was even more formidable, boasting nearly 70,000 people. Despite their large families and high expenses, they had still managed to amass vast amounts of wealth. With fewer members in the Feng family, this meant that each person received a greater share of resources. Originally, the resources for the main branch had increased tenfold, but after the destruction of the four great families, their resources had increased another threefold. Even the branch families saw their resources triple. Half a month after the fall of the four great families, the surrounding cities, Myriad Demon City, Vastmile City, and Snowgale City, all came to the Feng family to offer their congratulations. In the eastern part of the Heaven of the Unknown, there were 5 major cities: Ancient Revival City, Vastmile City, Snowgale City, Flat Sun City, and Wind and Snow City. These 5 cities had similar levels of strength, and were in an alliance, similar to a coalition of nations. They managed their own affairs but provided mutual support against external threats. Chapter 24: Dominance and Ambitions in the Heaven of the Unknown. The forces of the other 4 major cities even proactively offered to pay a certain amount of protection fee to the Feng family every year. The amount was not too large. Each level for power only contributed 500,000 lower-grade spirit stones, which added up to nearly 10 million spirit stones annually for the Feng family. Among the other 4 cities, there were about 20 level 4 forces. In the long run, that's 100 million lower-grade spirit stones over 10 years, which is quite a considerable sum. But their approach could be seen as a sign of foresight, as the Feng family's strength now far surpassed that of the other 4 cities. On the surface, they had 4 level 5 cultivators and 1 level 6 expert, but in secret, they had Feng Yuan, a major powerhouse. The actions of the 4 cities were practically no different from voluntarily becoming vassals of the Feng family. If they hadn't taken the initiative, Feng Qingtian would have unified the 4 cities sooner or later. In the Heaven of the Unknown, powers are also ranked. They are divided into king level, royal level, saint level, and emperor level. For instance, the Jinghong dynasty, which is near Myriad Demon City, is a typical king-level power. Similarly, a power with a level 7 expert could also be considered king-level. A royal-level power is one with a cultivator at the level 9. Level 10 includes sacred lands and ancient clans in the Heaven of the Unknown, guarded by experts of the level 10. As for imperial powers, simply put, it refers to powers or families with an emperor expert. However, there are no such powers in the Heaven of the Unknown realm now. Some families that once produced emperors still refer to themselves as imperial clans. The Feng family members are not idle people either. Feng Qingtian naturally has his ambitions. He also wants to elevate the Feng family to a level 10 power. To achieve this, they will definitely need a vast amount of resources, and bringing the other 4 cities under their control would be highly beneficial for the Feng family. Even if the major forces are friendly towards the Feng family now, Feng Qingtian will eventually force them to submit. Complete and utter submission. Yuana, keep this transforming dragon pill for yourself, Feng Qingtian said, handing over the pill he had acquired at the auction within the Feng family's inner courtyard. To him, Feng Yuan using this pill would yield the best results. Feng Yuan looked slightly displeased. Father, I've told you, I don't lack resources. You can keep it for yourself. If I give it to the Feng family, then the Feng family should take it. Don't be polite with me in the future. Feng Qingtian was always considerate of him, which was great, but the key point was that Feng Yuan genuinely did not lack resources. With a wave of his hand, Feng Yuan filled the hall with the rich fragrance of elixirs, each one radiating energy far beyond that of the transforming dragon pill in Feng Qingtian's hand. I don't lack things like these 6th-grade pills. Feng Yuan Qingtian was about to say something, but when he saw the 7 or 8 6th-grade pills in Feng Yuan's hand, his pupils contracted sharply. What the? He was stunned. 6th-grade pills were rare treasures in Myriad Demon City. Even items like the transforming dragon pill had not appeared in the last decade. Yet, Feng Yuan casually took out several 6th-grade pills, all of which were of a higher grade than the transforming dragon pill. This left Feng Qingtian speechless with shock. I've been so ignorant. This was absolutely outrageous, to the point of being beyond imagination. Feeling somewhat embarrassed, Feng Qingtian put the pill away. Seeing this, Feng Yuan said, "You should keep this pill, and aim to break through to the peak of the level 5 as soon as possible. Then I'll get you a void transition pill." Feng Qingtian was visibly startled. You can get a void transition pill. Compared to the transforming dragon pill, the void transition pill was a true treasure, capable of helping level 5 cultivators break through to the level 6. However, this pill must be refined by a 7th-grade alchemist, making it a rare treasure throughout the eastern domain. Feng Yuan calmly replied, "It's just a 7th-grade pill. I can even get 8th-grade and 9th-grade pills. It seems you don't quite understand the extent of my master's abilities." Since his master was imaginary, Feng Yuan could boast as much as he wanted. Feng Qingtian was too stunned to speak. 8th-grade and 9th-grade pills. Could there even be 8th-grade alchemists in the eastern domain? While he was still in a daze, Feng Yuan stood up and left the hall. "I'm going out for a bit." Watching Feng Yuan's back, Feng Qingtian remained silent for a long time before finally lifting his head with a smile, his eyes filled with pride. "Qingling, our child, has really made something of himself." After leaving the Feng family, Feng Yuan headed straight for the Myriad Treasures auction house. Although the Feng family was not lacking in cultivation resources, there was still an issue. The resources were too monotonous, and there were few options for techniques. Moreover, they had no alchemists or artifact refiners. A large family composed entirely of combat cultivators was clearly unreasonable. Additionally, Feng Yuan faced another problem: he had too many lower-grade spirit stones. Absorbing spirit stones was a hassle, and they were not as effective as natural treasures, so Feng Yuan planned to spend some spirit stones to buy more heavenly materials and earthly treasures to enhance the Feng family's strength. At the Myriad Treasures auction house, the moment Feng Yuan arrived, the reception staff's eyes lit up. "Greetings, young patriarch Feng." Now that the Feng family had become the dominant power in Myriad Demon City, and given Feng Yuan's extravagance at the previous auction, the staff saw him as a major benefactor. "What would the young patriarch like to buy? I can take you to see it right away." The receptionist's face was full of flattery, his eagerness plain to see. With his hands behind his back, Feng Yuan said calmly, "Call Steward Zhu out. I have quite a few things to buy." The receptionist's smile remained unchanged as he respectfully replied, "Please wait a moment, young patriarch. I'll call the steward right away." He then hurried off. If it had been anyone else, even Wang Ming from before, they wouldn't have had the confidence to directly summon Julie. But after the last auction, Julie had specifically instructed that he should be notified immediately if Feng Yuan ever showed up. It took less than 10 breaths before Julie approached with a smile on his face. "Young friend Feng Yuan, I was busy just now and couldn't personally welcome you. My apologies." It had to be said that the staff of Myriad Treasures auction house were smooth operators. Even though Julie was a level 6 cultivator, he still kept his demeanor very humble in front of Feng Yuan. But this was understandable. After all, Feng Yuan was there to spend spirit stones, so showing a bit of humility wasn't a problem. For merchants, thick skin was their greatest weapon. With a smile, Julie said, "This way, young friend." Soon, they entered a luxurious private room. They sat across from each other, with snacks and freshly brewed tea laid out on the table. Feng Yuan picked up a piece of light red pastry and smiled. "Steward Zhu, you're being quite generous. To offer such high-grade spirit pastries just to entertain guests." The pastries on the table were infused with significant spiritual energy, worth around 30,000 spirit stones per piece if sold separately. Julie laughed, "Young friend, you're one of our esteemed guests at the Wanbao Pavilion. If you like these, I'll have them packed and sent to the Feng Yuan family." He truly had a way with words, making Feng Yuan feel quite at ease. Switching topics, Julie asked, "So, what is it that you'd like to buy this time, young friend Feng Yuan?" "I'll have it brought over right away." Chapter 25, 40 Billions. Feng Yuan asked curiously, "How many spiritual stones worth of items do you usually stockpile in the Myriad auction house?" Julie was a little confused about what Feng Yuan wanted to ask, but he still put on a thoughtful look and gave a rough estimate after a moment. The branches of the Myriad auction house generally decide what level of items to stockpile, and how many items to stockpile based on the region they are in. For example, our Myriad Demons City branch has at least 40 billion spiritual stones worth of items in stock. By the end, Julie was full of pride. As a steward of the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion, he had a natural arrogance in front of the local forces in Myriad Demon. After all, their capital strength completely crushed the local forces in the city. He thought Feng Yuan would show a surprised expression, but that was not the case. 40 billion. Feng Yuan's brows immediately furrowed. So little. He directly said indifferently, "Please trouble Steward Zhu to calculate exactly how many spiritual stones there are. Pack it all up for me. I'll take everything in the Myriad auction pavilions." "Okay, huh?" Julie suddenly looked at Feng Yuan and asked in a confirming tone, "Young Master Feng Yuan, what did you just say?" Feng Yuan said calmly, "I said, I'll take everything in the Myriad auctions house pavilion, no matter what it is." Julie took a sharp breath. His eyes were full of solemnity and doubt. 40 billion spiritual stones, young Master Feng Yuan, are you sure? This is no joke. Buying out the Myriad auctions house was too terrifying. It had never happened before. Moreover, Julie also doubted the financial strength of the Feng family. After all, they had already consumed so many spiritual stones before. Even if the Feng family had wiped out the four great families, they could only barely scrape together 40 billion spiritual stones at most. But he didn't believe that the Feng family would buy so many useless things. Among these 40 billion spiritual stones worth of items, at least a third of them were items that were not very helpful for cultivation, which was equivalent to buying something that would just gather dust in a warehouse. Feng Yuan didn't bother to argue and directly threw out a spatial ring, which contained exactly 10 billion low-grade spiritual stones. "Let's consider this a deposit." Julie took it and looked and immediately took a sharp breath. 10 billion spiritual stones as a deposit. At this time, even if he doubted it, he had to believe it. Others had directly taken 10 billion as a deposit. How could this be fake? Julie's eyes were full of heat. With a performance of 40 billion spiritual stones, the commission he would get was also quite terrifying. "Please wait a moment, I'll go prepare it right away." Julie was afraid that Feng Yuan would wait too long, so he immediately ran out, arranged for people to pack things, and then started calculating the value. In just half an hour, Julie brought all the things to Feng Yuan. "Young Master Feng, here is everything in the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion. The total value is 43,570 million low-grade spiritual stones, but since this is the first time our 10,000 Treasures Pavilion has encountered such a generous customer, we will waive 7 million spiritual stones for you." Julie had 11 top-notch spatial rings in his hand, with extremely large spaces, filled with all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Julie also thoughtfully classified the various treasures, making them easy to see. After Feng Yuan checked that there was no problem, he directly gave him the remaining spiritual stones. However, he still asked somewhat unsatisfied, "Is that all you have in the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion? Don't you have anything better?" Julie couldn't help but swallow. Is this not good enough? Several of the treasures that Feng Yuan bought were treasures for level 6 cultivators. Doesn't your Feng family only have one level 6 cultivator? But Feng Yuan's tone was full of contempt, as if he was saying, 10,000 Treasures Pavilion, is that all? Originally, Julie was proud of the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion, but Feng Yuan came and bought everything from them, which made him feel a little unconfident all of a sudden. Better refers to which aspect? Feng Yuan didn't answer. He asked, "Can you order goods from the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion?" Zhu Li's heart suddenly jumped. Feng Yuan wanted to order goods, which meant that the Feng family still had spiritual stones. Oh my god. Zhu Li quickly said, of course, whatever you want, I can transfer it from other branches or the headquarters, but you need to pay a part of the deposit in advance. Feng Yuan nodded and then began to say, 3 to 5 grade cultivation pills, give me 100,000 of each. After saying that, Feng Yuan fell into deep thought. And the smile on Zhu Li's face suddenly froze, and his face was full of bewilderment. What are you talking about? 3 to 5 grade cultivation pills, 100,000 of each. Are you sure it's 100,000? Wait a minute, young Master Feng, are you sure you didn't say it wrong? A 3rd grade cultivation pill costs at least 50,000 spiritual stones each, and 100,000 of them would be 5 billion spiritual stones. 4th grade cultivation pills start at 500,000 spiritual stones each, and 5th grade pills start at 2 million each. Are you sure you want to buy so many? If Feng Yuan hadn't bought out the 10,000 treasures pavilion, he would have thought this guy was a fool if he came to him and said he wanted to buy 100,000 3rd to 5th grade pills. But now he instinctively felt that Feng Yuan could afford it. Feng Yuan thought for a moment, all the things he had just bought added up to probably only more than 2,000 billion, and he didn't even reach 1 trillion. And his low-grade spiritual stone balance was still 6,556 trillion. Add another 100,000, 200,000 of each. Seeing Feng Yuan's serious expression, Zhu Li couldn't hold back anymore. He thought Feng Yuan was showing a thoughtful expression, and was reorganizing his language. Unexpectedly, he thought it was too little. After Feng Yuan finished speaking, he looked at Zhu Li with a doubting look. Steward Zhu, can your 10,000 treasures pavilion do it? Can. Hell. Zhu Li's mouth twitched, but he couldn't refute. If he opened his mouth and said that he didn't have 20,000 5th grade pills, what would he use to refute him? However, to be honest, Zhu Li was also a little worried. Even if the 10,000 treasures pavilion really took out 200,000 5th grade pills, that would be at least 2,000 billion low-grade spiritual stones. Could he really take it out? Chapter 26, Elevating the Feng family's power. Feng Yuan flipped through the items for a while before calmly saying, how about this? Go back and ask your higher-ups to calculate the total value of everything in Myriad Treasures Pavilion, and I'll take it all. He had too many lower-grade spirit stones, so he thought it would be better to convert them into treasures, which would be more beneficial for his cultivation. After all, he still had an endless supply of middle-grade and high-grade spirit stones left unused. What a headache! Zhu Li furrowed his brow, feeling at a loss for words. Young Master Feng, our Myriad Treasures Pavilion holds countless treasures. A rough estimate puts their value at least in the tens of quadrillions. This is no joke. If Feng Yuan had said he wanted to buy 100,000 pills, Zhu Li might have believed it. But to buy out the entire Myriad Treasures Pavilion? That was almost impossible. It was simply too far-fetched. Who in the entire eastern region could empty out the Myriad Treasures Pavilion? Unless it was one of the level 10 forces. Tens of quadrillions. Feng Yuan quietly did the math. 1 trillion equals 1 zhao. 10 quadrillion equals 1 jing. Current balance of lower-grade spirit stones, 6,500 jing, 1,563 zhao. Holy! Even Feng Yuan couldn't help but let out a curse. I've only spent 1/6,000th of my wealth. After thinking for a moment, Feng Yuan abandoned the idea of buying everything. It was just too difficult, and it would certainly attract too much attention. Shaking his head, Feng Yuan instead said, never mind, let's do it another way. Every month, your Myriad Treasures Pavilion will send 30 billion lower-grade spirit stones worth of resources to the Feng family. Make sure to include popular items, cultivation techniques, formations, pills. Avoid obscure ones. Balance the levels from level 1 to level 6. If the quality of your goods is good, I'll continue buying. If not, I'll stop. With that, Feng Yuan casually took out a spatial ring and handed it over. Here's 2 billion lower-grade spirit stones as a deposit. As a supreme sage, Feng Yuan had no worries about Julie running away with the spirit stones. Finding a level 6 cultivator would be child's play for him. Julie looked at Feng Yuan's calm expression, feeling incredibly shocked. He had been in business for many years, and his instincts told him that the young master in front of him wasn't as simple as he seemed. He must be hiding a great secret. But Julie didn't dare show any greed. Feng Yuan had boldly handed over the spirit stones, and his confidence in making such a purchase meant he wasn't concerned about Julie's intentions. Besides, the Myriad Treasures Pavilion had never harmed a customer before. Julie respectfully replied, "Understood, young Master Feng. I will report this to the headquarters immediately, and will ensure timely delivery to the Feng family." Feng Yuan didn't waste any more time. He nodded and left the Myriad Treasures Pavilion without a second thought. As Julie watched Feng Yuan's figure disappear into the distance, he couldn't shake the feeling that today's events had felt like a dream. Slap! He slapped himself hard, and the sharp pain reminded him that everything had been real. Looking around at the now empty Myriad Treasures Pavilion, Julie couldn't help but chuckle bitterly. The pavilion was now devoid of treasures, only filled with spirit stones. After standing there for a long time, he left Myriad Demon City to report to the headquarters of the Myriad Treasures Pavilion. Their business was focused solely on trade. No matter how many spirit stones Feng Yuan had, the pavilion would never resort to malicious actions. That was precisely why the Myriad Treasures Pavilion had thrived in the heaven of the unknown, growing to its current scale. But Feng Yuan, was he even human? How could someone have so many spirit stones? Someone like him shouldn't even exist in Myriad Demon City. On his way back, Feng Yuan glanced at the treasures he had obtained through the system sign-in, and he curiously asked, "System, can I give these spirit roots and physiques to others?" He had acquired too many physiques through the system, including hundreds of top-grade spirit roots and celestial spirit roots. Even higher-tier physiques like saint physiques and immortal physiques were in abundance, but since he could only possess one physique, the rest would go to waste. System, yes, they can be given to others. However, without the system's protection, the process of merging with a spirit root or special physique will cause unbearable pain. Feng Yuan's face lit up with joy. In that case, he could give these extra physiques to the Feng family's core members. No need to worry about the Feng family not rising to power. Feng Yuan already considered the Feng family his own, and naturally wanted to see them grow stronger. Upon returning to the Feng family, Feng Yuan didn't hand over all the treasures he had purchased. Instead, he set aside treasures worth 10 billion spirit stones that would be useful for cultivation, keeping the rest for himself. Having already received massive resources from Feng Yuan in the past, Feng Qingtian was much more composed this time. As he held the spatial ring from Feng Yuan, Feng Qingtian felt a mix of emotions, chief among them was confusion. Everything about Feng Yuan's transformation had been too bizarre, making him feel like he was living in a dream. Shaking his head, Feng Qingtian calmed himself down. "No matter what secrets you have, you are still my son, and the future head of the Feng family. That is enough for me." He didn't want to pry into Feng Yuan's secrets. Back in his courtyard, Feng Yuan lay back in his chair, a contented smile on his face. This life after transmigration was well worth the million years he had spent in the void. When little Han saw Feng Yuan had returned, she immediately approached and began to massage his shoulders. The Feng family's servants were well trained, and their skills rivaled that of professionals from outside. Feng Yuan smiled, "Not bad, you've already reached the level 1/9 layer." Upon hearing Feng Yuan's praise, little Han's face beamed with excitement. She gratefully said, "It's all thanks to the young master's guidance that I managed to break through." Feng Yuan gave a slight smile but didn't say more, closing his eyes and enjoying the moment. One reason for cultivating the Feng family was that he liked the people here. The other was a more practical one. Feng Yuan didn't enjoy being alone. He preferred being surrounded by others. When he used to read web novels in his past life, many protagonists would remain alone, devoted to their path of cultivation. But Feng Yuan found that kind of life boring. Whether human or animal, it's hard to completely detach from social groups. Besides, he didn't even need to cultivate. The system took care of everything: resources, cultivation, treasures. He could rely on the system for everything. He could simply relax. A meal eaten alone feels dull, but if 3 people are fighting over it, it suddenly becomes delicious. If his path of cultivation were a lonely one, how would it be any different from spending 1,000,000 years in the void? However, the members of the Feng family had rather poor cultivation potential. Among the younger generation, aside from himself, the best spirit roots were only mid-grade. The most advanced cultivation level was late layer level 2, which, while decent in Myriad Demon City, wasn't nearly enough. After some thought, Feng Yuan decided to first elevate the Feng family members to heavenly spirit roots, and then gradually advance them to special physiques like level 10 physiques and immortal physiques. Suddenly boosting everyone to such a high level right away would be difficult to explain. He didn't want to rush the Feng family's growth. A gradual, steady rise was the best approach. Chapter 27, Awakening the Heavenly Roots. Feng Yuan opened the system backpack and checked how many heavenly roots he had. That's quite a lot. This amount was more than enough to enhance the potential of the entire Feng family, but Feng Yuan certainly wouldn't use it that way. He would only select the loyal and trustworthy individuals among the side branches and servants. Feng Yuan turned to little Han, who was beside him, and said, "Go notify all the direct members of the Feng family to come here, including the head of the family and all the elders." The Feng family's direct descendants weren't many, about 30 people in total. Little Han acknowledged the command and quickly left, knowing how high Feng Yuan's status was in the family now. She was eager to perform her tasks well, hoping to receive more recognition from Feng Yuan in the future. Soon, all the direct members of the Feng family gathered together. Even the elders showed great respect, immediately coming over as soon as Feng Yuan called. Since Feng Yuan rarely summoned them, they guessed that it must be something important this time. Feng Yuanba, the 4th uncle, smiled and asked, "Feng Yuan, is there something you need?" Feng Yuan glanced around, noticing their curious expressions, and replied, "There is indeed a small matter. Since you spoke first, 4th uncle, why don't you go ahead and experience it first?" "Me?" Feng Yuanba was taken aback but still stepped forward and, under Feng Yuan's guidance, sat on a stone stool. The Feng family members were curious, their faces full of doubt as they watched. No one knew what Feng Yuan was up to. Feng Yuan smiled, "4th uncle, it will hurt a little, but try to bear with it." "Hurt?" Feng Yuanba laughed loudly, "Feng Yuan, you're underestimating your 4th uncle. If there's one thing I'm not afraid of, it's pain." "But what exactly are you trying to do?" Feng Yuan responded with a mysterious smile, "You'll know soon enough." Using heavenly root. A light gathered in Feng Yuan's hand, flowing into Feng Yuanba's body through his head. The previously calm Feng Yuanba's expression immediately changed. It felt like a fire was burning inside him, getting hotter and more intense, like someone was repeatedly stabbing him with needles. Feng Yuanba gritted his teeth, enduring the pain. While it hurt, it was still tolerable, and out of trust in Feng Yuan, he didn't resist. After just 10 breaths, the pain became much more severe, as if someone was stirring his internal organs with a stick. Feng Yuanba's face twisted in agony, his entire body trembling with pain, veins bulging on his forehead. Seeing his 4th uncle in such a state, Feng Qingtian couldn't help but ask, "Yuana, are you sure your 4th uncle is going to be all right?" Feng Yuan shook his head, "Don't worry, it will just hurt a little." Hearing this, Feng Qingtian relaxed a little, but he was still confused about what Feng Yuan was doing. It wasn't just him, the entire Feng family was perplexed. Suddenly, a scream echoed through the courtyard, and Feng Yuanba collapsed to the ground, drenched in sweat. His skin appeared to writhe, as if something was moving inside him. "Father." Feng He had bright eyes filled with concern. The screaming grew louder as Feng Yuan seemed to be enduring unimaginable pain. The Feng family's expressions changed. This was just a little pain. Father, are you all right? Seeing her father's condition, Feng He was about to rush over, but Feng Yuan stopped her. Feng He, don't worry. Do you think your brother would harm his own family? Feng Yuan's face remained calm and composed. Feng He relaxed slightly, reassured by Feng Yuan's confidence. At that moment, Feng Yuan's screams ceased, and he lay on the ground, panting heavily. Little brat, this is what you call a little pain. Feng Yuan spoke weakly, clearly exhausted from the ordeal. However, his expression soon shifted. What is this? He felt the spiritual energy around him rushing into his body at an astonishing rate, his meridians wider than before. He looked shocked. Why am I absorbing spiritual energy 5 times faster than before? 5 times faster. Feng Yuan was astonished. Feeling the spiritual energy surrounding Feng Yuan, he asked in disbelief, "Fourth brother, stop absorbing energy and see what happens." Though confused, Feng Yuan complied. A shocking scene followed. Even though Feng Yuan wasn't actively cultivating, the spiritual energy around him continued flowing into his body. Affinity with the heavens and earth, automatic cultivation, this is the sign of a heavenly root. What? The Feng family was stunned. Feng Yuan stepped forward and said, "That's right. This is the heavenly root. I have a method to elevate your potential to the heavenly root level without any side effects. It will perfectly match your body, and all you need to do is endure the pain. But the younger and lower the cultivation level, the less painful it will be." The reason Feng Yuan experienced such intense pain was because his cultivation base was already deeply established, making the root transformation a forceful reconstruction. Fortunately, the process wouldn't take long. About 30 breaths, otherwise, Feng Yuan might have truly collapsed. Elevate to heavenly root. Feng Yuan couldn't help but gulp. The best potential in their family was upper grade root, but if all the direct members could reach the heavenly root, it would greatly benefit the Feng family. Enhancing one's root after birth was something previously thought impossible, yet Feng Yuan had made it a reality. Without this concrete evidence, Feng Yuan would have found it hard to believe. Feng Yuan raised his voice, "Who's next?" Realizing they could achieve a heavenly root, Feng Yuan stepped up immediately. "I'll go." Feng Yuan's face showed a hint of pride as he glanced at Feng Yuan. "Old fourth, your pain tolerance is weak. I don't understand why you were screaming so much, it won't kill you." Feng Yuan felt slightly embarrassed, especially after bragging to Feng Yuan about his toughness, only to scream out in pain. Feng Yuan then repeated the process with Feng Yuan. Before long, another loud scream echoed throughout the courtyard, even louder than Feng Yuan's. The entire Feng family probably heard it. Many side branches and servants looked toward the inner courtyard, puzzled about what was going on. Since Feng Yuan was at level 5, the transformation was even more painful. The screams eventually ceased, and Feng Yuan lay on the ground, drenched in sweat, completely exhausted. The pain had been overwhelming. But soon after, Feng Yuan began laughing loudly. The speed of absorption is incredible. I, Feng Yuan, am no longer a mere mid-grade root, I'm a heavenly root now. Feng Yuan smirked, "Weren't you the one who said you wouldn't scream?" Feng Yuan's laughter faltered, his face filled with embarrassment. Ignoring them, Feng Yuan said, "Next." Chapter 28, A Surge of Heavenly Spiritual Roots. In the inner courtyard of the Feng family, cries of agony echoed intermittently, lasting for nearly an hour. The Feng family members sat on the ground, exhausted. Feng Yuan had elevated the talents of all the direct descendants to heavenly spiritual roots. Of course, this was only the first step. Feng Yuan would continue to enhance their qualifications in the future. The faces of the Feng family's direct descendants were filled with joy. Heavenly spiritual roots. I can't believe I have heavenly spiritual roots now. This level of talent is rare even in the 5 major cities. I've heard that even in the Jinghong Empire, only 2 or 3 people possess such a qualification. Oh my god, someone slap me, this feels like a dream. Slap. Feng Kongshan, did you really just hit me? I know whether it's real or not. I was just trying to express my shock. But you hit me so hard, was that on purpose? Feng Kongshan looked aggrieved. You told me to hit you. Feng Qingyun was also overjoyed. With a group of people in the Feng family now having heavenly spiritual roots, how could the family not rise to prominence in the future? Feng Kongshan suddenly spoke, the young lord has enhanced your qualifications, aren't you going to thank him immediately? Though no one understood how Feng Yuan could accomplish such a miraculous feat, that didn't matter anymore. The future of the Feng family certainly belonged to Feng Yuan, so now was the time for the younger generation to foster a good relationship with him, which would benefit them greatly in the future. The younger generation quickly realized this. They all stood up and bowed in unison. Thank you, young lord. At this moment, the way they looked at Feng Yuan had changed. There was reverence and gratitude in their eyes. Feng Yuan simply smiled and nodded. Feng Kongshan suddenly turned serious, no one is allowed to leave yet. Everyone must head to the Grand Elder's place first. The other elders understood Feng Kongshan's intent right away. Today's events could not be revealed, otherwise, it would bring disaster upon the Feng family. Being able to enhance someone's spiritual roots was something unheard of, even in the oldest of texts. There were treasures that could strengthen one's body or increase their potential, but what Feng Yuan had done was fundamentally different. He had changed their very essence, something of an entirely different level. Feng Yunshan also spoke up, everyone, follow me. Among the direct descendants, some were confused about what was happening, while others, who were more astute, understood the necessity of secrecy. After everyone left, Feng Yuan glanced at little Han beside him and calmly said, Little Han, come over as well. Little Han hesitated for a moment, but then her face lit up with joy. Thank you, young lord. Before long, the courtyard echoed with little Han agonized screams. For Feng Yuan, enhancing little Han's spiritual roots was simple. The girl had been loyal and competent in her duties, so raising her level would enable her to be of even more help. The courtyard soon quieted again. Little Han's pain had subsided, and she now felt the rapid influx of spiritual energy into her body. Her face lit up with excitement. From now on, I also have heavenly spiritual roots. Little Han immediately knelt before Feng Yuan, her voice filled with respect. Thank you, young lord, for this great gift. Feng Yuan spoke indifferently, I've given you heavenly spiritual roots to ensure you do your job well. Do not disappoint me. Little Han's expression turned solemn as she promised, young lord, rest assured. I am yours for this life and the next. I will never betray you. She knew very well that what mattered most to Feng Yuan wasn't competence, it was loyalty. There were countless others who were more efficient than her, but Feng Yuan had still chosen to elevate her. That meant he valued her loyalty above all else. Her heart surged with emotion, realizing that all she needed to do to gain favor was to stay loyal to Feng Yuan. Feng Yuan casually replied, I hope you're not just saying that. As he turned to head back to his room, little Han looked at him with flushed cheeks and nervously bit her lip. She hesitated but finally asked, young lord, do you need me to serve you tonight? In the Feng family, maids not only attended to their master's daily needs but also, when necessary, served them in bed. This was considered normal. Feng Yuan raised an eyebrow and continued walking into his room without closing the door behind him. Seeing this, little Han's face brightened with excitement. She quickly followed him into the room, removing her clothes as she approached the bed, where Feng Yuan had already laid down. Recalling the instructions from the family steward on how to serve her master, little Han's face flushed even more as she undid Feng Yuan's robe. The night was long, and the morning mist greeted a refreshing new day. Feng Yuan emerged from his room, looking completely revitalized. Little Han, following closely behind him, was a bit unsteady on her feet, evidence of her defeat from the previous night. Feeling utterly content, Feng Yuan reminded himself that he wasn't in Earth. Since he had been transported to this world, he intended to live life to the fullest. Why live a life of celibacy when he could enjoy the pleasures of life? A man desires three things most: power, wealth, and women. A wise man wouldn't choose just one, he would take all three. And so, when little Han had offered herself last night, Feng Yuan had not refused. However, there was still one family member whose spiritual roots had not yet been enhanced: Feng Yuan. The old man had just broken through to the level 6, so his realm was still unstable. He had gone into seclusion the moment he returned home. Feng Yuan decided to find time to enhance his spiritual roots as well. A few days later, Feng Yuan stabilized his realm and emerged from his retreat. The Feng family threw a banquet to celebrate, though it was an internal affair, not open to outsiders. During this time, Feng Yuan took the opportunity to elevate the old man's spiritual roots to heavenly spiritual roots. In Myriad Demon City, Feng Yuan lay in bed, dressed in a thin white robe. Little Han gently massaged him, her touch delicate and skilled. "Young lord, someone outside is looking for little Han. Her name is Li Qingqing." Little Han's hands froze momentarily, but she quickly resumed massaging Feng Yuan. "Go and see her." "It's fine," Feng Yuan said calmly. Little Han hesitated, feeling conflicted, but after a brief pause, she stood up. "Thank you, young lord." Feng Yuan waved her away, and little Han left the courtyard. At the entrance of the Feng family estate, a young woman in her early 20s paced anxiously. Her face was full of worry. Soon, little Han appeared. Seeing her, Li Qingqing rushed forward as if she had found her savior. "Sister, please help me. My family is in trouble."
Hello, everyone. I wanted to take a moment to announce that this audiobook has reached its conclusion, as there will be no more chapters beyond this point. Unfortunately, the continuation of the story is not possible due to circumstances beyond our control, such as the author deciding to drop the novel or other unforeseen reasons. I understand how disappointing this news may be, especially for those of you who have been eagerly following along and looking forward to future chapters. However, I believe it's important to be transparent about the situation. Regrettably, the likelihood of any new updates for this novel is very slim. That said, I want to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude to all of you for your continued support throughout this journey. Whether you've been with us from the beginning or recently joined, your enthusiasm and love for the story have been greatly appreciated. I hope you've enjoyed the experience up to this point, even if it couldn't reach a full conclusion. Thank you again for your understanding and for being a part of this audiobook adventure.